Hey everybody, and welcome back to another Max Velocity weather forecast. And in today's forecast, we'll be talking about a large storm that's going to be impacting the United States over the next several days. And this is going to bring a lot of problems, including the potential for tornadoes, heavy rainfall that'll lead to flooding, and we might even see a nor'easter. I'll be giving you the latest breakdown on everything that you need to know in this forecast. And let's begin with what this storm is currently doing here in the United States, because we actually have the storm already in the Central Plains. And notice this low pressure system that's centered right over the four corner states. Lots of moisture because of a strong southerly wind, bringing some rainfall to areas across the Central Plains today. And again, we're looking at the infrared imagery, so we got an idea that there's some cold cloud tops aloft here across parts of Texas back through Kansas. And then again, back out to the west, this is your low pressure system. And the closer you get to this low pressure system, we actually have some snow that's ongoing right now in the Texas Panhandle and back through the Oklahoma Panhandle, with winter storm warnings in effect and as well as winter weather advisories. Now, why is this such a big deal? Because this looks pretty small right now. Well, the big concern right now is that we have a lot of moisture back down in the Gulf of Mexico. Lots of rainfall happening right now, and we are expecting that these two disturbances will both merge with each other, and this will become a pretty strong low pressure system, bringing a lot of rainfall across much of the Gulf Coast and as well as the East Coast, and as well as bringing the threat for even some severe weather as we go into Saturday, maybe even into Sunday. So this is going to be a really important storm to watch here over the next several days, because if these storms merge together, this could become a pretty dangerous storm as it moves toward the northeast, potentially as a nor'easter with some snow and very high wind speeds as well. Right now, again, we have some winter weather advisories in effect across parts of southwest Kansas, the Texas Panhandle, and the Oklahoma Panhandle. Pink boxes represent the winter storm warnings. Majority of them are in Colorado and as well as northeast New Mexico. We have a couple there in the two panhandles there. So again, nothing too crazy with this system. It'll bring a few inches of snow, but that snow potential won't really go any further to the east unless we see these disturbances merge. In that case, we would see some snow in parts of the northeast, and we'll talk about what that looks like here in just a second. Now let's talk a bit more about the weather pattern that'll be impacting the United States over the next several days. And to look at that, we're going to look at the jet stream. So again, right now we have that trough that's located over parts of the four corner states, and a lot of moisture down here to the south, right along the subtropical jet stream. Then back up here to the north, the polar jet stream is very, very far off to the north for this time of the year, hence why it's been a lot warmer than it usually would be during this time of the year. Now, as we go into Saturday into Sunday, we are going to be watching for this low pressure system to move out to the east, and we're also going to have another low pressure system at the surface back down in Florida that is going to race off to the north and east. And you'll see this better here in just a second when I show you the 500 millibar chart. But notice these two low pressure systems will basically be going toward each other as we go into late Saturday into Sunday. And if they both merge, this storm could get pretty intense in the northeast with, again, very high wind speeds and a lot of rainfall. So notice as that happens here going into Sunday into Monday on the European model, this could really develop into a pretty strong trough here in the northeast. Then once we go later into the week, that low pressure system moves through the north and east. We'll have a high pressure system as we get closer to Thursday of next week, dominating much of the United States. And then as we get closer to Christmas, we will need to watch for a storm coming off the California coast, and we'll have to see if this develops into anything on the long term, because we might see some more activity as we get closer to Christmas, potentially even some larger cool downs to go along with that. Here's the 500 millibar chart. I wanted to point this out because notice the low pressure system is a closed low, which means that this system right now is going to move pretty slowly over the next 24 to 48 hours. And then once we go closer to Friday into Saturday, again, notice this low pressure system and the other one. They're both going to be going toward each other here. One in the Ohio Valley, the other which down in Florida. The one down in Florida will be going much further up to the north and east and much faster. So that'll allow for this to, again, potentially merge as we get closer to early next week. So something to definitely watch for. Now, here's the relative vorticity charts. I have never really shown this on videos before, but this gives you a good representation of how these storms could both collide and basically, conjoin with all the energy that they both have. So notice as we go into Saturday, we're going to have, again, two low pressure systems. The main one will be over here in the Midwest, and then another area back down in Florida. And as these, again, move off to the north and east, they're both going to likely merge. And if this all happens, we could see this huge energy field start to develop going into late Sunday into Monday. We might even see more of that coming as we go into late Monday into Tuesday, creating a lot of relative vorticity here across much of the northeast. And this would, again, allow for a stronger and more organized low pressure system, which would, again, lead to a nor'easter potential here that we definitely have to watch for very closely as we go into the late weekend and as well as early next week. So what does this look like on the future radar? Well, right now, again, as of today, we have rainfall currently falling across much of of the central and southern plains. Dominant high pressure system back over on the east coast. That'll not stay there for much longer, by the way. And then we have a lot of moisture back down in the Gulf of Mexico. So what we're looking at as we go into late Friday into Saturday is these two disturbances to merge. Now, the low pressure system will move off to the north and east, but we're going to have a lot of moisture come from that low pressure system and merge together in the Gulf of Mexico, creating this other storm that'll develop back down in the Gulf. So as we go into late Saturday into Sunday, notice how that low pressure system develops, and your initial thoughts are, this looks like a tropical storm. It will not be a tropical storm. We are not in hurricane season anymore, and the water temperatures are just too cold to support an actual tropical storm. But I will tell you, this will bring very similar impacts, with a few tornadoes being possible on Saturday, and as well as very high wind speeds, upwards of 40 to 50 miles per hour across much of Florida. Now, as we go throughout the day Sunday, lots of heavy rainfall right along the southeast part of the United States and along the east coast. And again, notice how these two areas of energy basically merge with each other as we go into late Sunday into Monday. And this would be, again, what we're watching for really in the northeast. And again, look at this low pressure system. The European model has this intensifying upwards of 974 millibars. I do want you to know, though, that we are still about 3 to 4 days out from this event actually happening, which isn't a whole lot of time. I mean, honestly, this is probably going to be pretty similar to what's going to happen. The big question will be, when these two energy fields basically merge in the northeast, will they both merge at the same time, or will this system back here to the west merge a bit later? If it happens later, this will not be nearly as intense, but obviously if they merge pretty close together when it gets to the northeast, that'll allow for a stronger low pressure system, and therefore good amount of heavy rain very possible with this system. And again, this is going to be a pretty strong low pressure system, and you'll notice all these isobars very close together. That would represent, again, high wind speeds with this system. Once we go into Monday into Tuesday, though, I don't see this being a huge winter storm. I don't think we're going to see that, just due to the fact this is going to probably stay a bit more inland here, closer to the coastline, and it's also going to be warmer overall. So there probably won't be a great opportunity here for this to be a winter storm for much of the northeast. There might be some of that possibly in upstate New York, but again, notice how there's just a lot of rainfall with this and a lot of warmer air advection here, and that's just going to lead to more of a rain event, I would say, across the northeast. But there could be maybe a little bit of snow along with this. Things could definitely change a little bit anyways over the next 48 hours. Rainfall totals when we're all said and done, the key is at the bottom of your screen. Notice almost the entire east coast right now is likely to see between 2 to 4 inches of rainfall, with some isolated locations upwards of 6 to 8 inches. Those rainfall totals will probably fall closer to Florida in comparison to the northeast, especially since this will be much faster moving as this gets closer to the northeast. In terms of wind gusts, back down in Florida, 30 to 45 miles per hour all weekend long is expected. We could get some areas upwards of 60 miles per hour along the immediate coastline. Notice as this goes up to the north and east, we could actually get some winds near 60 to 70 miles per hour on the Carolina coast, but that would again be probably a little bit more closer to the beaches. We wouldn't be talking about that threat inland. And then once we go into Tuesday, or late Monday into Tuesday, those winds could very easily pick up, especially across eastern New England. Upwards of 50 to 65 mile per hour wind gusts definitely look possible. And by the way, there is a severe weather threat going into suspicious storms Saturday. There's a marginal threat of severe weather for much of Florida. A few tornadoes are possible, but this is a low confidence threat. The reason why there's lower confidence is mainly because of when the timing occurs, and as well as how much shear there will be. If there is a lot of shear, we could easily see this go to a slight risk of severe weather across Florida, which would lead to the potential for a few nocturnal tornadoes, meaning a nighttime tornado threat. We'll keep you posted with the latest on this. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel and like the video.